Alright everybody, welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. Wow, it's been an entire month since I've done a single live stream and released YouTube videos here and there. I believe maybe 2 over that whole month. And I wanted to just quickly talk about why that was, as well as, you know, it's awesome to be back. Not that I really went anywhere. But, you know, we'll talk about it. That's usually how these shows go. And all that stuff. I wanted to apologize right at the beginning here that you might hear me sniffling and coughing throughout this episode. I apologize for that. I got over a flu almost a week ago now. And for some reason, I can't get rid of the cough in my throat. It's like this lung butter. You know, don't want to get too gross on you guys, but, you know. So if you hear me sipping like we usually do, get the coffee going. Just to keep the whistle wet, keep the throat loosey-goosey, and all that good stuff. But how have you guys all been? It's been such a long time since I've said hello to you guys, and I hope everybody's been working on projects still. Everybody's been doing comics. Everybody's been doing illustration, all that fun stuff. And for those of you that have no idea what's going on, this show will be every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the stream right now, you got a whole hour until we're wrapping her up. And if you miss it, these episodes are always re-uploaded on YouTube, and just follow or subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That's just Scribbles with Jonathan. If you want, go to my website, Jonathan Rector, JONATHANRECTOR.com, and right on the right, there's a whole bunch of links. You guys can find me all over the internet. I'm trying to keep it pretty easy to find me. I'm eating and drinking and sleeping comics, awesome, and it's great to see some familiar names in the chat. It's been a little while. So I took a month off after I finished the standard. And for the many years that we've been doing this show, you guys have probably remembered, or I would hope you remember anyway, all of the comic book work that I was doing for John Lees, who's in the chat room as well. And our book, The Standard, you know, wrapped it up, all that good stuff. And what I wanted to do was just take some time off and just kind of do my own thing. Whether that was, at first, I'll be honest with you guys, I took a month off, not necessarily from, like, I didn't really have much client work and all that good stuff, but it was sort of a vacation in a way of, I didn't have any work to really do for anybody. It was just for me. And I thought that I was going to use all that time to study like I used to do back in the day, tighten up my anatomy, work on some personal projects finally. Sorry about that. And all sorts of, you know, just, it's finally I'm able to just work on my own stuff. Finally, you know, there's this mysticism I was giving it. And, you know, I did work, but I didn't get even remotely close to the amount of work that I thought I would do. And I don't want to say that I would hope that I would have done. But it was an interesting time. A lot of reflecting, because I wasn't drawing as much. There's even times where, you know, entering my mind was like, maybe I shouldn't do comics, you know, maybe I should just focus my energy on something else. And I know that sounds probably really silly. It was very, very silly for myself, because I've spent so many years doing this stuff, and, you know, some people, they'll put a bar on themselves or above them. Things like, oh, well, if I don't work for the big publishers by the age X, whatever age that is for you, then I'm no good, and they quit and they walk away. And a long time ago, I decided that that wasn't going to be me. And, you know, I sacrificed quite a bit, like I'm sure all of us do. And when I say sacrifice, I don't necessarily mean sacrifice things that hurt us, you know, physically and stuff. But there's times where you definitely just want to phone it in and, you know, just hang out with friends and all that stuff. And you burn a lot of bridges, at least I did, socially with real people that had nothing to do with comics or art or anything, just social things. Like, people want to be people. They like to hang out with people. And, you know, I would be stuck in my room like most of us, your little art studio, whatever you got. Just trying to get better, just trying to, you know, because you have fun, because you enjoy it and all that good stuff. But anyway, so I took, you guys should probably hear Jessup meowing in the background. I don't know what's up with him. I have no idea what's going on. But Yeah, so I was keeping contact with a few people. I got into some writing, so you guys will never see that stuff, and it's nothing big. It was just kind of finding a different way to express some art stuff, and for me, it was writing. So I was writing some short stories, plotting out novels and things like that. You guys have probably heard, if you're following me on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, that I was just talking about uh, getting very relaxed and getting back into reading. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and over the last year and a half, even if I'm just reading like an hour before bed and all that nonsense, it's relaxing. Then I started getting into concept art again, and I found this tremendous artist that I would highly recommend you guys all, whether you do concept art, comic books, whatever. His name is Feng Zhu, Fengzhu. That's his last name, Zhu. Check him out. Listen to all the videos he's got on YouTube. The guy's spewing wisdom. Just twist what he's talking about concept art and replace with comics or illustration, whatever it is you do. And what he was doing was he was really igniting a spark that kind of went out once they started going full time into comics, as full time as I could get it. And if you're living at home still and all that good stuff, treasure that time. Spend it just getting better in all areas of your art that you feel like you need, and all that good stuff. But anyway, so I got back into concept art, and he was showing me this one really cool trick that he does for clients, and I just kind of like twisted it about. I'm not sure exactly how much of it I'll show you guys, but what it was anybody that's played an MMORPG like World of Warcraft or Guild Wars or something. You guys might be familiar with this. It's called something that people like to call alt-itis. And what it is you can't really... I'm definitely one of those people where it's like I'll make a character, and I can't stick with that character for a long time. New flashy things come along, new ideas are always popping in your head, all that fun stuff. And what it was that this video that really kind of changed my methodology towards this stuff, and it's all still a work in progress. Who knows how far this will go, where it'll take us, and all that good stuff. But it's... doing up these very quick concept paintings, photo mashes, I hear some people call them. I'll probably show you guys a couple in a second here for this project here, Godslayer. And the idea of it is imagine you're making a video game, okay? You're making a video game, and it's your job as a concept artist to sell the idea and pitch the idea to potential investors. So let's just say, what's a big company out there? Activision, we'll say Squaresoft. The old school Squaresoft, back in the day making Final Fantasies and role-playing games. So Squaresoft comes up to you and says, we want to make a new Final Fantasy. We're not quite sure where we want the direction to go. We want it to be sci-fi-ish, okay? So what they do is they hire, they get their concept art team. And for a couple days or whatever, we all just go into a room and we do these little photo mashes. And at the end of the week, we got the meeting with all these people that are investing, potential investors, and we just go take a look at the game. And none of these things, you guys will see as we go in there, as I show you, none of them are meant to like wow people to the point where it's like, holy hell, that is an incredibly well rendered drawing. Look at that painting. It's just to sell an emotion and idea. So you take like pictures people have taken, textures, colors, mash them all together in Photoshop over a sketch you've kind of done, erase it, and kind of paint it a little bit. And hopefully what it's doing is it sells an idea. It gives an energy so that these people that that have the money to invest, they might go, you know what, I kind of like the feeling of that. That gets me excited. And then they start dropping cash, and then the project starts. And all that artwork you just did is probably scrapped. It's all gone. They're going to start from scratch with that kind of idea. I wanted to take that with my own versions of it. So what I did is I did it for a few projects that I had in mind, and then I just kind of looked at them and said, which one of these ideas is actually getting me excited? And Godslayer was the one that I'm picking right now, so I'm going to stick with that. And we'll quickly go through it in a second here. There's a little bit of writing done. You guys won't see that. It'll just be mostly like this concept art stuff. So instead of pitching it to a group of investors, I'm pitching it to myself, right? Again, which idea that I have here is something I want to spend the next X months with, X years with, that kind of stuff. So anyway, where I was going with that is I highly recommend you guys try it if you guys are like me and you it's not necessarily that you can't stick with the project. It's not that. It's you combat this idea in your head that you always have new ideas pumping into your head, that you need to get them out. And it's not necessarily that you get energized about brand new ideas and then the old ideas suck and you don't want to do anymore. It's you get so energized and it visually pops in your head so much that you want to do that right now, to get it out, to make sure you don't forget it, to show people, to share this cool idea that's popped in your head. Excuse me. That's more like where it is. So what's really cool about these really quick photo mashups is I can spend an hour, you know, a couple nights a week and pump out all these ideas and save them onto a file and just flip them once one project's done, and you can start wrapping them up that way. I just wanted to reply to some of the things going on here in the chat. John saying, I guess it's kind of like exercising, where if you stop for a while and break the routine, it's harder to jump back into it, which is exactly correct. Now that I'm trying to get back into the drawing and stuff like that, it's a little, it is something that just needs to get a little bit more work done to get it flowing back into that, you know, working all the time kind of thing, and not just necessarily doing nothing. I suppose that sounds a little weird. I highly recommend reading books, though, guys. I'll tell you that right now. Not like books can suck. I 100% agree with you. But if you can devote like a half hour before you go to bed to just read 4 pages or whatever you can do, the amount of information that you're giving yourself, you're making your imagination create worlds, create scenes, create things. What the concept artists like to call your visual library. Not all of us can travel and do these sorts of things, but when you pick up a book and read it, it asks of you to create the character's face in your head, the world that they're in. That's important stuff, I believe anyway. So if you could even squeeze in like a novel every 2-3 months, you're going to give yourself some traction here and get interested in it. And what it'll do, it's not necessarily like looking at comic books, you know, like how we always talk about, and I've always talked about on the show, hey, how do you develop your style and stuff, and how do you get better at anatomy? There are anatomy books. Look at comic books and concept art books and look at all that stuff, and you can get a better style. But when somebody asks you to draw like a let's just say a castle, you don't want to be stuck doing this castle right here, you know, with a flag on the top and another little pillar back here. We'll put the little, what is it, a portcullis, if I'm saying it right, and then a bridge, you know, and then, oh, we're gonna have a moat. Like, you don't want this fairy tale Disney. You might, but I doubt it. Especially if you're making your own story and stuff. If you want a castle, you know, like maybe you start thinking of things like, okay, is it built into rocks and stuff, and what's the shape? What kind of you start asking yourself certain questions, you know, right? Like, what's the environment like? Maybe this is a desert, so there isn't much around except sand dunes and rock, maybe. But it's not only that, but like as you get up here, it's like, okay, well, you're not going to just put like little tops on with flags, right? Maybe down here where they have, if you guys have watched Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, like Minas Tirith, where they have down here is like the common area and stuff, right? But as you get higher, maybe now we're going to start getting into like where the rich people live, right? So the style should change. It should start looking like there's a little bit more, I don't want to say money, but more importance. This is important up here. This is where the people that really rule or look after the people, they all need to be. And as you get higher, maybe that's where there's more lights going on, like there's parties and stuff. Down here it's cold and drab, you know. Like, it's a different style of castle, right? But that's what I'm trying to say. When you read, I find anyway myself, that as an author writes things, they don't describe usually castles like this. They describe it like this. But it's up to you and me and everybody that reads it to figure it out as you go. And your subconscious will pick on that. I know I'm kind of like jumping around, but this kind of stuff right here, this is where the concept art stuff is leading me for ideas and stuff for my comics. Now, granted, I have yet to make my own stuff, like I've told you guys before. So this is all just throwing it at the wall and seeing where it goes. Let me just get back to what you guys are saying here, because we're trying to catch up here. John saying a writing version I've heard of that he's heard of that problem is a sexy new idea syndrome. Yep. And Bando is asking, what is that sexy new idea syndrome? Is it when our newest idea of the story is ideal and sounds better? John saying basically it's when you're always chasing the new thing. You have an idea and it feels much more fresh and exciting than what you're working on, so you drop your current thing and start the new thing. And then once you start trying to develop the new thing, it becomes real and concrete. It's less exciting, and then another new idea comes on. And that's 100% correct. 100% correct. And it's the professional thing to do your best at sticking with the same old thing because it's going to lose its new car smell. You got to see it through, right? That's the mark of a professional. Ian's asking, Jonathan, did you ever get to check out that Cube Brush YouTube link I sent you about color palettes? I'm not sure, Ian. I apologize. I know I've gotten quite a bit of emails, and I've tried to get back to people. If you wouldn't mind sending it in, just in case, that'd be great. And Ian saying that he's losing. Well, that's not good. Losing the stream. Let me know if you guys are having a problem in the chat. So, I just in case, because you know I'm sure you guys will forget, and I apologize for not saying it at the beginning. This show here is for you guys and you girls. So if you guys have any questions or you guys need any help with anything, by all means, just let me know. Please put your question in all capitals in the chat, and I will definitely answer them for you. So I'm just going to open up Photoshop here just to show you guys really quickly what I was talking about. So it sounds like the US viewers are having a little bit of the UK, John, all the way over there, is doing good. He's doing good. So I'm still ironing out the exact story and stuff like that. But essentially, Godslayer was an idea I've had for quite a while now, a few years. And I came up with it, bits and pieces of it, when I worked at a dollar store, probably 4 years ago, I would say, around there. And it's a classic tale, you know, you hear this all the time, of a man loses the woman he loves, and he makes a pact with somebody that he shouldn't to get his love back. That's essentially the story, and you guys will see as we go here. It's kind of what I'm trying to draw in the background while I was talking there is the main character. Comics, personal, Godslayer. In the 309, do, 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 do. Okay, so let's open up the first one here. So this here, once she loads, and these things tend to look a lot more fancy than they really are. Let's just make her full screen so you guys can see. So all you do in this, and I plan on making a video for this, but you know, you can check out Fang Zhu. Again, definitely check it out. He might change the way you think about working and all that fun stuff, but what he does is show you concept art, at least what he comes up from. So his video is probably a lot better than mine because he is a much better concept artist than I am. But the idea of the concept art is not necessarily, like I said before, getting sweet anatomy, and I'm not digitally painting here 100%. I'm just trying to get an idea out. So these are just scenes that I would pitch to myself to be like, is this what I want to commit to for the next little bit? Who knows exactly what this will look like? But like I say, this character here, if you have to come up with a name for the main character, he wants to resurrect or bring back the love of his life back from the dead. She was taken away from him way too young, and quite by accident. And so he's sort of on that quest to go down to, in this case, very representative of hell, you know, playing on those motifs, to make a deal with somebody or something or some god. And you'll see as we go. And once he gets that ability, what it is he gets something called the Godslayer. And what it is it's sort of like a parasite that's in his arm. Excuse me. And with that, he's charged with going out and killing gods. And once all those gods are gone and removed from the earth, this entity, this creature, this guy from the underworld, wherever this is, will fulfill his pact and give the main character back what he wants. Obviously, in these types of stories, it never works like that. And again, you'll see as we go. Some ideas are popping up from things like this that I was coming up with, where the arm, as he kills gods, is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually, the arm will just be moving him. He won't be in control anymore. It's kind of playing on some stuff. You'll see as we get there. So this scene is the main character on his journey down into, to me, this was hell. That was the idea I was trying to go with here. It's these giant waterfalls of meat and blood. Very disgusting stuff. Now, the comic will be in black and white. Highly doubt it'll be in color. So this sort of stuff is going to be difficult to do. I'm excited and challenged at the same time to figure this out. And all these hands and faces and just meat kind of thing pulling at him as he's trying to punch his way up and rip his way through. So this would be one of the first places that he goes. Now, as this next part, again, these are just to pitch ideas to myself. Whether or not they will actually stay in the story, totally different. All of this is left up to me once it comes down to it to just get rid of it. We don't necessarily need it. It's just a, does this seem fun to do? Does this seem like a little, interesting thing that's tickling my fancy? A little bit bigger files here. So, okay, in this scene here, he finally makes it to this god, this demon thing. And that's what this character is on the right. He's kind of telling him, you got to prove yourself to me. You have to go through some pain in order to get this thing. And he has to shove his arm into like magma, some sort of like lava. And he'll burn his arm off. That's kind of like how the infection starts to get this weapon that can take out these gods in order to free his woman. Or his lady. So let me just close this up here, and we'll get to another one. Now, some of these gods, I want them to be giant mammoths of creatures. You know, anybody that's played God of War or Shadow of the Colossus, just these video games, sort of like just massive, massive things. Still having problems, are you, Ian? Sorry about that, buddy. Oh, Photoshop. So in this scene here, there's two brothers that are gods, sort of like twins. And what happens is there's a little kingdom kind of thing over in the corner here. Let me just bring this back to full screen. And what it is you've got all these people on the left, and they march up and they sacrifice people up here to these two gods. Very like, primal kind of stuff. I want this, I don't want it to necessarily just be guts and blood and gore. That's not what I'm trying to go for. I'm just trying to go for something that's cool to me. And so that's what this is. It's sort of like a place to sacrifice in honor of these two monolithic gods here. And, it kind of summons them to do their thing. And it's up to the main character eventually to kind of go up and kill these guys. That'll be the whole point, right? It's to take these dudes out. So I just wanted to get a couple ideas down of the size of these things. So I think I have one more painting like this. Bando is saying Godslayer has something of Foss, Elric, God of War, Berserk, and the Orpheus myth. Looks cool. The Orpheus myth, I think that's a friend of mine. We were just talking, actually. I believe that was one where he goes to hell and he's told not to look back. That sort of thing. If that's it, yeah, it's along those lines for sure. And here's another one. You've kind of got like this worm kind of god here. Just to show that they come in different flavors and stuff in a forest. And the main character's chained up. I don't know exactly what this was, why he's chained up. Just trying to give story elements to myself. Whether or not this will actually happen, I'm not sure. In hindsight of looking at this, I don't think I want it to be in a forest. I want everything to kind of be that, it's not a fun place to be. Maybe in the past it used to be, and all that cool stuff. So that's about it for this sort of thing. Again, check out Fang Zhu, and definitely check out this sort of style thing here. It's very fun to do. It does take some work, some time and stuff, but it's really not too brutal. I think we'll definitely get there and do all that fun stuff like that. But other than that, the last thing I'll show real quick is just actually original concept art when I first had the idea of this story. And then we'll get back to Manga Studio. And again, if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Just put it in full caps so I can see it. And what I'm trying to do here is just distinguish the actual look of the character. So these are some of the original designs that I had, as you can see, back in 2012. So this was the sort of idea of the arm that he had. It would be more mechanical and things, but it's not what I want to go with. I want it to be very disgusting. I have an idea of like an eye. So this god that wants him to go around to kill other gods, it can see it. It gets like a sickness, like a fetish from seeing the death of gods and sort of thing. So just concept ideas that I have in my head of like the eye blinking in his shoulder, going down into his arm and into like the top of your fist, that kind of thing. I feel would be really cool. How that would work in a comic book, I'm not too sure. It's just, it's all over the place. Again, more just concept trying to build up on the look of the character. He looks too goody two shoes here. I want him to start to look really disheveled. You can see over here on the left, it's a little bit gross looking, but it's getting more towards where I want it to go, like veins and just nasty stuff. Teeth maybe in there, just things that are gross. I just don't want people to look at it and think it's just, oh, it's a cool looking arm necessarily. And stuff like that. This was actually drawn as a sketch that I had an idea that I had in my head when I was working at the dollar store again. We used to put out inventory, so I'd rip one of the sides of a box off and just grabbed a pen, started drawing there. Just had to make sure I got the idea. And here, again, getting closer with the idea of of getting a gross looking arm with the eye looking at him, and it's a real, maybe some blood and some teeth and some eyes and all that good stuff. And yep, this is when I was getting into Manga Studio as well. So these demon sort of creatures definitely want to have this sort of vibe to it, and some logos and stuff. So yep, and there you go, more the arm that you guys had already seen. So that's where she's at so far. Still quite a bit of work to go, but just slowly hacking away at it. What do we got in the chat here? Hey, Will's in the chat. How's it going, buddy? John, read Neil Gaiman's retelling of the Orpheus myth and the Sandman. Stunning. Okay, I'm kind of scared to read stuff that's slightly familiar to what this story is about, because I just don't want to pull ideas from it and get people to rip it off. I don't want to do that there. It's going good, Will. Everything's going good, man. Excuse me, sorry. See you later, Ian. Sorry you're having such a troublesome time here. It sounds like everybody's having all kinds of fun problems happening here. Some people can't get video, some people can't get audio. All kinds of craziness. Alright, so let's just get to work here. I'm trying to come up with some sort of feeling for this guy. I want them to be like a lot of weight on the character, right? Like him weighing down. I really like the idea of having his upper body be something like this. Kind of like a surfer's body, where they've got like the giant upper body and the giant shoulders, and then like the skinnier arms. And the much skinnier waist and the longer legs. And then the head. But the head, I want to have like that muffled hair kind of. That's very like a disgusting version of where I want to go with it. But maybe we can just build out some volumes here. I like the idea of, there's a style I've seen a lot of people do, the Hulk, and you guys know I'm a big fan of the Hulk, but you curl the shoulders in to make the pecs look smaller. It's got this really interesting look to it. And I'm trying to think of like fighting styles that this guy would have, and the fact that he makes a journey into hell to seek out a weapon or a way to bring back his girl, to me means he's got some sort of fighting capability. He's got some sort of skills, right? Once he gets the hand, though, I want to go into that malicious kind of like bludgeoning kind of thing, like punches and tearing and primal kind of fighting. So that's where I want to kind of have this curled shoulders, like the offense is always going on. And like I said, as the story goes on and the more gods he kills, the bigger this arm's going to get, and eventually it's going to get so big that it just weighs him down. He can't really move, but his will and everything he wants to keep doing pushes his arm to literally start pulling him around. I think it'd be pretty cool to do. Again, a lot of tests are going to be needed to see exactly how something like that would work out. So I have that, and I want to have that Him having the long hair in front of him. Maybe we'll start putting some like infection into his hand. Alright, let's bring this back. Let's start working on this. John's saying maybe as the arm gets bigger, grows little spider legs move around on. Oh man, that's even better. That's gross. Getting insect kind of things. That's a great idea. Okay, let's copy that. Make a new layer, pasty, and we will do a little transform action. Just going to lower the opacity a bit here and just work on the anatomy just before we start dressing this guy up. So let's get his head in here. Like the hunchback look. I want him to I want to start the book obviously with him looking more like a hero. So he will be straight, you know, straight back, chest out, but with some sadness in him. I want definitely, if I can anyway, as best I can, is to get some emotion going in the book. So if I can nail that, then we can really start pushing heartstrings and connecting with readers. And get them sunk in here. Okay. Let's get this gnarly, beastie, gross hand starting to get formed up here. The idea here too is that it's just all concept stuff at this point. We are going a little bit tighter since we're working with pencil here. In the design, but all of this is meant to be just thrown away. It's not meant to be kept. It's just to pull extra ideas and stuff from once I actually need it later on. So most of his face definitely in shadow. And I want to lose who he is by the end, you know? Like, he's getting just driven by not wholesome things for lack of a better explanation of what's happening. And one of the themes that I wanted to have for the gods that he's killing, that I want them to be human virtues, things that people hold. I don't want to say Catholic or Christian or anything like that, but what most people consider decency and humanity, you know, like proper virtues. And I want most of the gods to represent that, even though, you know, some of the images I showed you where these people sacrifice people and hang them, and which summons these twins that show up, which are gods, to come and sort of feast on those bodies. I'm not quite sure how I'll spin it, but the idea is the gods that he's killing, it's kind of like he's killing the virtues of man, you know, and that's he's doing the ultimate no in a way, just so that once he comes to the conclusion of his venture, whether he succeeds or anything like that, there is that realization that you know, the last thing that he did was destroyed all of which made him a man, and he's becoming an abomination. You know, he's become the thing that, I don't want to say the thing that he went to stop, but he became the very thing that he probably was fighting and stuff like that. So, you know, lots of these things, lots of these story ideas, nothing too fresh. Hopefully I can put a spin on it that's a little bit different, and at least fun and exciting to read. You know, that's the whole point. What will happen when he kills love? See, now you're getting into the questions that I'm asking myself as I'm writing, as I'm coming up with ideas. Is one great. I started walking to work lately, and once I start walking, sometimes in the showers, another time that I have, I don't want to say revelations, but everybody, I feel, whether you're an artist or a writer, you have certain moments or certain rituals or certain times during the day that I don't want to say you look forward to, but you just get ideas. Some people get them while they're sleeping, and then they'll wake, bang, and they'll wake up and they have to have that notebook beside them so they can write down the ideas. You can't really pick and choose when you get your ideas, your fresh ideas, at least what seem fresh at the time. Mine are when I go for a walk to work and when I walk home. I sort of, and this might sound absolutely stupid, but like a kid, I sort of play sound effects as I walk. Not too loud. I don't want to be, you know, looked at as a total freak, but just playing things. I've started to take a notepad with me, and I'll come up with lines of dialogue that I can feel these characters start to say. And I can genuinely say that I've heard people talk about things where it's like, eventually with stories, your characters will talk to you. And I can, like I say, I can honestly say that it's true. I am finally experiencing that, and it's a weird feeling, but it's an awesome feeling. And it's not like they're telling me to do things. It's not voices like that. It's voices that are, it's like watching a show or a movie or reading a book in a way. You can kind of curl your lip when the bad guy says something, or like the main character is like, just has a quip, you know, or just says something. Yeah, that awesome, badass, that. And I'll write that down and then like keep it. But those ideas and stuff, they're very important. Okay, Will, sweet. You got your audio working again? You. But yeah, Bando, when you're talking about like what happens when he kills love, I'm not sure what exactly the virtues are of man that these gods are going to represent. If love's actually one of them, I think it would be, you know, just based on what he's doing. You know, I have to try to find a way to make it so that it's not so, you know, oh, this guy or this god, or, you know, is about love, that sort of thing. There's got to be a twist that I can do to make it feel a little bit more unique, I guess. I have to be careful with certain designs. I feel like if I start going into like as cool as goatees would look on these characters, they start to feel like, you know, now I'm just ripping off God of War, that kind of stuff. Classy Jonathan, did you see my Psylocke drawing on Facebook? No, I didn't. Feel free to post it here, and I can check it out. Good night, John. Audio's cutting out, eh? Not sure if this will fix it, but we can try it. Oh, it's better for you? Okay, cool. Okay, right on. Good. Good. Maybe just a mustache? I don't know. Everybody I do has mustaches, so try not to. Another couple things that I was trying to think of while I was doing the concept stuff is like a theme, like maybe I'm really interested in the war in what's it called? Doing things in the desert, sand, that sort of stuff. It seems like a lot of people are having problems with live stream. Google Hangouts has a little bit more stability, but there's some stuff that doesn't make it very fun to do this sort of thing with, like the chat doesn't exist, stuff like that. So maybe we can do something. The face here. Let's try something out. I don't want to go with the bald, even though the bald would, I think, would look pretty cool. I'm very scared of making my character look too much like Kratos from God of War. So I'm trying my best to try to come up with something unique. It feels like I can't do any kind of slick looking facial hair because of that, and I can't make them bald. Pointier chin. I do like the long hair. It kind of makes him feel skeletal in a way. Give him some scars, maybe. Oh, just working on some Godslayer stuff, Will. Do you do critiques? Psylocke. Okay, if you want me to critique this, Classy, just let me know what you're looking for before I start, you know, going at it. Some people, they just want to know, like, does the anatomy look good? Do they just want to know if it looks good? They want to know just things to improve on, nitpick it, beat it up, that kind of thing. Let's see if this worked. La 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 la. Just if I like it or not. Okay. So copy link location, paste and go. Let's load it up, and then I'll bring it on the screen so you guys can see it. Oh no, I definitely did see this. Yeah, I thought this was badass. I thought this was actually very well done. I don't think I have a single complaint. One might say amazing. I like your style of Sentinel. It reminds me of Silvestri style. But I like everything about this. Everything about this. Top notch. I'm not just saying it to gloat or to make you feel awesome. Just, it's amazing. Good job. Oh, this character looks so boring. Alright, maybe we need to get some energy happening here. Alright, let's try to figure this guy out. Hey, yeah, no problem. Keep doing what you're doing. It's looking awesome. Okay, maybe he's leaving somewhere here. Let's try to just come up with a story here for this picture. I don't want him to have the arm just yet. Let's see if we can develop this guy a little bit more. What's he do? Maybe he's not exactly clean, as in, you know, he's not like a knight of justice. He's more of a, I'll steal the bread because my family's starving kind of guy. It's against the law, but we'd all do it. You know, that kind of thing. Not sure what. It's like a pirate kind of leads that way, I find. Maybe your Robin Hood kind of characters. Steal from people that have way too much. Whatever that exactly means. Let's rotate it up. If we go the peasant route, which this seems like it could lead its way that way, you know, we can get into the whole hero's story, hero's adventure, where the farmer or the peasant or the person that's always shunned upon rises to the occasion kind of thing. It's one of those ones where it's like the everyman changes the lives of everybody, for good or for bad. Maybe this is like a, I feel like we're going the thief route here. Put this in between some buildings or something. And the reason why, I highly recommend you guys try this out too. I'm just talking this out loud. I do this even when I'm by myself, if I'm coming up with characters or trying to. There's nothing here. We can still, I could turn this into Spider-Man. I could turn this into anybody right now. But talk to yourself. Find that character. Find that person, that guy, that girl in your head. Bring them to life. Start asking questions, you know, like kind of like what I'm doing. The only reason I say it's not the way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. I just highly recommend trying it out, because you might start pulling new designs out that you might not get otherwise. You know, asking yourself practical questions. You know, how does he feed himself? What is his job? That's where we're going with this. And the reason why it's stemming here is because, like, this character I kind of like the direction of that. I want to go sand. I like the idea of deserts, all that kind of thing. Middle East, you know, if he's got like face masks and stuff, is probably the direction we're going to go. This, boring as F. There's nothing here that's unique. It's a face. There's nothing. The hair, I know what I want to do with the hair, but, you know, it's boring as hell. So I need to find things that are going to spark this sort of thing. And you guys have checked out other things that I've done, you know, with the Guildmore stuff, where it's, let's come up with the candle guy. I forget what we called him, waxmonger, I believe it was, or something like that. So in the case of this, like the direction right now, whether or not we'll stick with it, that doesn't matter. Again, just trying to come up with a feeling and energy. If this guy is a thief, he's lurking in the shadows and alleyways, there's certain things that he'll definitely want to be doing, right? Like he'll dress a certain way. He probably doesn't want to be seen. Maybe, you know, just trying to come up with reasons why he would be doing this sort of thing. He's clearly, it's a love story, right? He's doing this for the woman he loves. Why would he turn to being a thief? Why would he steal things? Does he not have enough money for medicine? Maybe she's gravely ill. Maybe she's pregnant. That's always a fun one. She's pregnant and sick. And they don't, a street rat. They're both street rats, you know, those people like to call them. Maybe the society that they live in is a caste society, meaning you're kind of stuck with the life you're in based on a class system. So, you know, his parents, her parents, they both weren't anything special. They weren't blacksmiths, they weren't, you know, anything like that. They were beggars. They were street jesters. They were people of the street, whatever that is. They do what they need to make money. I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe instead of it's the woman he loves, we can still go the pregnant route. I do like that. It gives a little bit of vulnerability to the woman. Not that women need any more of that stuff in these stories, but maybe it's his sister and she's pregnant by one of the royalty. You know, I like that idea. If you guys watch Braveheart, that sort of thing where the royalty is so pompous and nobody likes the empire of things. You know, nobody likes the bad guys that are just like this force, this unseen force that just does what they want. So maybe she was molested or raped because of whatever, because the empire or whatever, that's the right they have. If you are not royalty, or if you're a street runner, whatever you want to call them, they can do whatever they want to you. You look at them the wrong way, they can backhand you. They do public executions. So, like, now we're getting into the real nitty gritty of the world, right? We're making this real. We're making it gross. We're making it a place we don't want to live. Immediately, you're gonna get sympathy from your audience if you play it right. So maybe that's the story there. His, you know, his sister is pregnant, and he needs medicine because now she's getting sick, and he doesn't want his niece or nephew, his unborn niece or nephew, to die. He doesn't want his sister to die. His parents are dead. So maybe that's where the adventure starts, you know. He's looking for medicine. He's coming out of the shadows. He's changing it up. He's starting to come out, you know, change who he is, what he is. That's the character arc, that change. And in doing so, she's going to die. And that's where he starts to make his pact with, she shouldn't have died. She did nothing wrong. She was pure, that kind of thing. She was raped. You know, play all that stuff up. And that's sort of where he gets his vengeance against the gods. Like, how could they let him do this sort of thing? Anybody that's religious, I don't know if they do. I'm not a religious guy myself, but one of the things that I like to do with these sort of things is research. And I find anyway, and I could be wrong, that there's a lot of questions a lot of religious people don't ask, and there's a lot that they do ask. And it's, you know, there's the very real question of why people pray all the time. You could be very well off, middle class, upper, lower class, that kind of thing. And you can always, oh, please God, let me get a job. Let my husband find a job so that we can put food on the table, all that cool stuff. All real things. And people say, thank God for this and that, but why do all these kids die of AIDS over in Africa? Why does all this bad stuff happen? These are just questions that I like to ask to help build plot into the story. And this character can be a vehicle to help push that along. He's definitely a character I feel that can you can get sympathy with, where it's how could, in this case, many gods let this sort of thing happen to street rats? You know, why would they let, like, rape is such a horrible thing, and I don't want to get into the what's the word I want to say here? The argument between the two, like, and be careful what I'm saying here. I'm not saying pro rape and con rapes. There's no pros and cons of rape. It's horrible, but there could be an argument for both sides to help propel a plot, you know. And if in this world the gods don't stop this sort of thing, why is that? And that can be a question that this character can ask and help in the motivations of, you know, that's okay. If I talk to this guy and he gives me the ability to resurrect, bring back my sister from dying in these horrible conditions, and I can bring the people who are responsible for this to justice, as well as get revenge on these so-called gods that aren't helping us. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about you guys, but it starts to feel like there's a story kind of happening here, and it's not necessarily something we haven't heard, you know. This sort of thing is talked about all the time, especially with religion, which is fine. But that's one beautiful thing about comics, right, guys? Is everybody's got their own voice in telling them how to do it. So even though you all got the same script, you get different versions all the time. If I'm making sense, let me know. But anyway, let me just go up here to see what we're saying here. Squirrel Mix, welcome. Classy, do you think you leveled up your art skills a lot now that you are at work? Yes and no. My day job isn't this stuff. It's video game artwork, so concept art as well as UI and graphic design. My coloring has gotten way better, because basically everything I do has to have color in it. So I've had to try to study on color theory. I've got a long way to go, but I'm much better than I was, for sure. As for just drawing in general, yes and no. I still have to practice on the side, so I can still figure out figure drawing and comic book storytelling. It's much different than just doing video game work. And the audio is dying everywhere. How's it going, David? Alright, so it looks like we're about to wrap up in a minute, so I'm just going to leave it open again for about 5 minutes. If you guys have any comments, questions, or if you guys need help with anything, please leave it in the chat. Just put it in capitals so I can see it and answer that question. I want to say thank you guys so much. It's great to be back. Remember, this show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in the stream right now and you're wondering, hey, when is that? I don't know if that's my time zone. Just look at the clock right now, subtract an hour, and you're good to go. What else did I want to say that I addressed in the beginning? I will be putting an article up on my website, hopefully very soon by the time this recording goes up, just sort of talking about how we briefly went over the Godslayer stuff, how I'm using that Fang Zoo video and the studies that I'm finding through that, of coming up with a project to stick with and to try, just to, you know, hammer out some ideas that you might have if you feel like you keep jumping around on projects, and how you can kind of hopefully figure out a way to stick with one project and see it to fruition. I'm definitely trying it until I actually get a book of my own under my belt. Most of this is just hearsay, so. So again, some of the questions, I know I was rambling big time there. So if this guy lives in the shadows, I probably can't afford a haircut, so I don't want this to be styled. Probably pretty rough hair. Hey, Jessup. I don't want to cover his face too much. What's that? Can you please wish my son a happy 12th birthday? He is listening. His name is Caden. Happy birthday, Caden. I hope you get all sorts of presents, goodies, comics. Cake? Better get cake. Chocolate cake would be delicious. I know you're a little young, my man, but once you start appreciating coffee and cake, coffee and pastries, that's my bane. But happy birthday. So some other things, he's probably wearing rags, you know, so we'll give him the ripped up pants. I want to throw some elements in here that are unique to this world. So I do like, again, the idea of sand sandstorms and stuff, maybe I don't want to cover his face too much, but I want him to be able to have something to cover his face with. And since there's sand, scarf seems like it'd be pretty cool. I know, real out of the box thinking here. Get one of these bandage kind of things. Do like the cape. And he needs some sort of weapon. Remember, once he gets that giant arm, that nasty looking arm, a lot of his attacks are going to be bludgeoning and ripping and tearing and primal. So I want the opposite of when he's like this. I like the idea of him being in the dark. I like him stabbing needles, you know, that kind of thing. So since he's poor, maybe he does actually have like a knife, a fancy looking knife that maybe his father had stolen, or maybe, oh, here we go, story elements, there we go. So this is the knife that killed his father, and he still hasn't found the person that did it, but he did take the knife that was in his father's back. Maybe knife used to kill his father, hasn't found the killer. Was that he's a budding comic artist himself? Oh, awesome. Skrill, ask him if he likes my stuff and all that good all that, and he likes the videos and all that. Ask him if there's a certain video or something he needs help with. Maybe I can do a video for him. And Classy's saying, do you ever have that God blank feeling that I suck? At times, yes. I don't want to say it's ever gone away, but it's not. I think where it gets now for me is it's not that I suck. It's how come what I'm drawing right now isn't coming together? Why is it the lines are just like, ugh. They're yucky. I know I can draw better than this. Sorry about that. And it starts to get into things like, oh, I just need to study more. I need to do all that. All I can recommend to you is it's the only medicine that I know that ever works for artists. And literally, it's just draw more. It'll fix every problem you have. As long as you're continually drawing and doing all that stuff, you will get better, and it will fix your stuff. And those days of, man, I suck, I don't even want to draw, I don't want to sit down and start, those days will quickly go away. Or when they do show up, because they'll never go away, you have the confidence to just kind of push through it. The professionalism. Don't overdo the plots. No, like I say, everything I'm doing, I appreciate what you're saying with that. These are just ideas that I may include. All of these are all throwaway. I haven't committed to anything just yet. So, but I appreciate it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Same time, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's every Wednesday, okay, you guys? So thank you so much. Stay tuned. There'll be more YouTube videos like usual. And I'm more than sure most of the live streams here, they're going to be Godslayer related. So you guys can see us eventually getting to pages and go from there. And then we'll talk about all that good stuff. So until next Wednesday, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you then. Bye.